Alright guys, let's do tower floor 63, which is actually a bit of a tricky floor in my opinion, to be honest. The main challenging part about this floor is the fact that enemy hits really hard if you play any off-color characters. This is not just for this floor, by the way, it's for all of the floors above 60, but basically off-color characters take damage by more than 200%. So that's kind of why if you play any of your usual support characters such as Yaga, etc., none of them are actually green, and therefore you will end up getting one-shot, or two-shot, because basically the enemy have a special attack, which is an AoE, so that's guaranteed to hit you, and he's able to do that as early as turn 3. That will definitely wipe out at least half of your HP, and then if you get hit by any one of the other 4 single target attacks those enemies are able to do each turn, then your support is going to be dead. So that's kind of why this stage is a bit tricky for survivability if you decide to play any non-green characters. Now, there are 2 ways of going about how to beat this stage, in my opinion. One is going to be you still play a non-green supporter. So, for example, Yaga is going to be a great choice, but you just have to pray for luck that your Yaga doesn't get hit by any of the 4 single target attack every single turn. Now, depending on how fast you can nuke down that enemy, it might be you only need to get lucky for 3 or 4 turns, or maybe you actually need to get lucky for like 5 or 6 turns. So it's really going down to luck at that point, which is why I don't really recommend it. But you can definitely try it if you want. The strat I'm going to try show you guys instead is going to be a lot more consistent and RNG free, but unfortunately it's going to take you about 20 turns because it's kind of like a slow killing here. So how does this strategy actually work? So basically the way strategy works is that there's still going to be a tiny bit of RNG, but it's only going to be on turn 1, which is your target can't get hit. Other than that, you're absolutely fine. And because that RNG happens on turn 1, and also on turn 1, the enemy actually do a buff, so there's actually only 3 single target attack. As long as none of those 3 single target attack hits target, then you'll be absolutely fine, and you don't need to reset. And even if it does get hit, it's only turn 1, you're not really wasting much time by resetting, okay? And then afterwards, what you're going to do is on turn 2 and turn 3, you still want Toge to be alive because he actually needs to activate his skill 2 twice. But what you're going to do is that you'll be activating this taunt reflection on Mahito, and you will also be using his skill 2 to guarantee you'll be dodging off the single target attacks. Now on turn 3, because the enemy also will be using his special attack, which is an AoE, so your Toge is going to die no matter what happens, which is great because this is where then you can get one of your DPS on. Now, when you're doing all of this, it's actually going to be very important in terms of who your Ghetto will be hitting and which skills, because what you have to realize is out of the 2 DPS I'm bringing, Mahito and also Yuji. Yuji is a physical attacker, whereas Mahito is predominantly a curse technique attacker with his skill 3 when he's inside his domain. So what you're going to do is that for the first 3 turns, what your Ghetto is going to do before Yuji actually comes on the field, what your Ghetto is actually going to do is the Ghetto is going to hit on the left hand side using his skill 2. And what his skill 2 does is it actually gives a curse technique debuff. And this is going to allow your Mahito to hit for maximum amount of damage when he actually uses his domain expansion. However, once you have actually done that, what you're then going to do is you will then switch Ghetto into using his skill 3 instead, and you will be doing it on the enemy on the right hand side. And this one gives a physical technique damage taken increase instead, which is also going to be why you'll be using Yuji to hit the enemy on the right hand side. And now when you actually use this domain expansion or double domain expansion on turn 4, so all of your attacks are going to hit a lot harder. On turn 4, turn 5, turn 6, what you're going to do is that your Mahito will be using the ultimate attack on turn 4 to target the enemy on the left. However, on turn 5, turn 6, you will always be hitting the enemy on the right hand side. And also even on turn 7, when you do a combo attack between Ghetto and also Yuji, you will still be targeting the enemy on the right hand side. However, your Mahito would then switch the targeting to the enemy on the left hand side instead. And the reason why I'm doing all of this in terms of the targeting is because you actually want to time it so that on turn 7, which is the first turn your domain Gojo can start charging up ult again, you actually want to break both of the enemy, because when you actually break an enemy, you're actually going to increase your ult energy. And turn 7 is also going to be very crucial because that's also going to be the turn when you activate Unity for the second time round. It's also going to be a turn when you actually do a combo attack between Ghetto and also your Yuji. So therefore, you are actually able to allow your domain Gojo to charge up for his second domain expansion very fast. And when you're doing that, while you're still charging up for your domain expansion, because you have broken both enemies, you have no problem with survivability. So that's kind of why I say this is very RNG free. And then what you're going to do is you'll go for the second domain expansion. And when you're doing this, you want to aim for the enemy on the right hand side and just kill him off first. And the reason why you want to always kill off the one on the right hand side first, even though the one on the left hand side hits harder and is weaker, but the reason is the one on the right hand side have this annoying thing where he can force you to retreat if you don't break him within 2 turns, and that's going to be a very, very annoying attack if you get hit. So that's kind of why I prefer to take the one out on the right hand side. And even though the one on the left hand side does hit hard, all of the character you have remaining after Toga is gone, it's going to be either Gojo, who's immune to damage, or 3 green characters, and they're totally capable of tanking long enough for you to finish off the battle. So that's kind of why I would suggest you guys target the enemy on the right hand side first. And also remember, you can always use this taunt reflection and also skill 2 on your Mahito to dodge any single target attack if you do feel like one of your characters are at risk of dying.
楽しそうだ。さて、やっちゃっていいの？コンベ。始めようか。いけ。術式準備。あ。ほらほら。さて、やっちゃっていいの？仕上げ。どうしよっかな。ふて。ほらほら、どうしたの？術式準備。あ。やっぱりこっちじゃないですね。手加減はしてあげるよ。シャケシャケ。どうしよっかな。ほらほら、どうしたの？邪魔だよ。やっぱりこっちじゃないとね。この手間か。そろそろ潰そうか。それじゃおしまいにしようか。行くか。今ならいけるね。噛みつけ。領域無料空襲。領域展開。自閉現存か。行くよ。いいね。そろそろ潰そうか。手加減はよし。どうしよっかな。飲み込む。あらあら。終わりだ。無意点。そろそろ潰そう。やっちゃっていいよ。行くか。始めようか。噛みつけ。あらあら。終わりだ。無意点。そろそろ潰そうか。やっちゃっていいの？いける。始めようか。交流。やるね。いくよ。おっしゃ。術式準備。あ。無意点。お、いいね。攻め時だね。手加減はしてあげるよ。よし。どうしよっかな。飲み込む。術式準備。あ。ほらほら。攻め時だね。それじゃおしまいにし。よし。どうしよっかな。噛みつけ。領域展開無料空襲。ほらほら。そろそろ手加減をして。よし。どうしよっかな。噛みつけ。あらほら。終わりだ。ほらほら。そろそろ潰そうか。手加減をして。よし。始めようか。飲み込む。あらほら。終わりだ。ほらほら。ポーズ決めて。そろそろ潰そうか。いけ。始めようか。ほらほら。どうしたの？こういう。行く。おっしゃ。やっぱりこっちじゃないですね。よし。始めようか。ほらほら。どうしたの？終わりだ。やっぱりこっちじゃないとね。行くか。どうしよっかな。ほらほら。どうしたの？やっぱりこっちじゃないとね。行くか。今ならいけるね。飲み込む。終わりだ。領域展開。自閉現存か。さて、いける。どうしよっかな。飲み込む。それがやりたかった。ちょっといじっちゃおうか。攻めときたね。いける。始めようか。こういう。いく。おっしゃ。無意点。攻めときたね。いくか。始めようか。飲み込む。終わりだ。冷静にね。よし。どうしよっかな。噛みつけ。終わりだ。ほらほら。冷静にね。いくか。どうしよっかな。噛みつけ。ほらほら。なんだと。よし。どうしよっかな。ほらほら。どうしたの？